What's up, guys? We're gonna brobeatz. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make an 80s breakdance type beat. If you guys haven't subbed already or turn posts on, you do so. It does happen a lot. Just hop right into it. So BPM, usually I would do halftime, but for simplicity, we could do 120. That should be a great BPM for this style. And then for this swing, I have it about 10%. That is just for later, so we have a little bit of groove in our drums, because FL doesn't really have an easy way to get like a real groove. Other than that, we can just grab in a scale. Usually for this style, you want to go for like a minor. So let's just do a D sharp minor. And I'll go over sound selection as we go through and everything. So let's go ahead and get started. So now we're going to start with our melody. Now the melody for these like type beats don't matter too much. The thing that is going to matter the most in this entire tutorial are the drums and the bass. Those are the things that are going to define the style, but this is kind of, you could do whatever you want kind of, and just have fun with it. So this is what I'm using. This is just a default sound. I just tweaked a little bit. All right, just a simple sound. And then really to start our melody, you can start anywhere. Like, you don't have to start on the D sharp. If you want to start on the C sharp, you can. And if you don't know where to go, you can just make a chord out of that and then kind of transpose things around. Then you can move this middle one out. And you kind of just use these as like a bass. So I'm gonna make these a little bit smaller, and then a groove. So since we aren't in halftime, it's gonna be a little weird. So you want to kind of do like very choppy gated grooves. And I'm gonna even make these a little bit smaller. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. So not starting on the grid, but offsetting it, so it's kind of like, let me see, right? But you want to move this over. Right, and then you want to usually about 2 spaces in between. Okay, and I'm just trying to give you a kind of area. So we hit here. If we go 2 spaces, right, we hit here, and then we want to do 2 spaces again. Okay, and then 2 spaces again. So skip these and 2 spaces, and then towards the end you can kind of go crazy and kind of do any pattern you want. We can use this G and just come back down, something like that. Something like that, all right? And we kind of want to repeat this over and over. Right, and you could change the pattern up if you want, but this is just like a typical pattern, okay? This will be the hardest thing we do in this entire video, so don't worry. And then I'll probably just go from here and go like make a chord backwards like that. And then we can just move these up. As a matter of fact, let's try offsetting this. Let's doing that too, using that space. Zoom in for you. Let's see. And then let's maybe go down. Okay, now that sounds really weird right now, but that's how they're supposed to sound. Okay, it sounds really weird. It doesn't really sound like anything right now, but something like that. And then I'll just make some variation over here. Just okay, so that's our melody. It's kind of trash, but context matters. So let's go ahead and throw on some little chords. All right, so this is the preset that I'm using. Okay, and pretty much you need a pad. In this style, there's always like a pad or some type of synth in the background. So I kept this very low. So you might want to turn it down so it's kind of in the background. It's pretty simple. You could just use the root, really. Copy this over and then pull these up and pull one up. And you just use those little dyads, or I guess just these little notes here. Right, and it's simple as that. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't need to know any theory, or just do something like that. And I'll play it. All right, as simple as that. And I know it sounds weird right now, but just trust me. I know y'all like, bro, what are you doing? But trust me, when I first learned how to do this, I was the same thing. I was like, man, what is this? But it'll all tie together if you just trust the process. So let's go ahead and go on to the next sound. All right, so the third sound that we have is a sweep. I would say you need one, but just something similar to a sweep, or just raise the attack so it swoops in. I just noticed in this style there's always something like that, and usually they don't play all at the same time. Usually the sweep and the bass will play, and then the lead and pad will play like on a different part, usually in the beginning. But here's what we have, and then for this we can just copy this just so we have a bass to start with. And now you want to kind of add some chords to make it sound like very like lush. So we could just add in our C, make a chord backwards from there. Make sure these are larger, something like that. You can see they kind of start late. And then we could pull this one down. See what this sounds like. I'm gonna copy that over, and I might just do something like this. Let's mute this real quick. Okay, I like that. It's very kind of gloomy and stuff. So now what we need to do is add our bass, and that is the most important part of this entire video. All right, so now we have our bass. And this is pretty simple, but people overcomplicate it. Now I do have a kit with this one-shot sound in here, because I know it's very difficult to find like the specific bass. I know how it is when you watch vids. And I put these drums in there as well, so you should be able to kind of get this sound as well. So let's go ahead and get to this bass. So this part is super important. Like the melodies and stuff you don't necessarily need, but the bass in these drums are like the core of this sound. So I'm gonna start up a little higher. I'm gonna start right here, and typically with this pattern, this is what you would have, like this like 808 pattern. But with this style, you want to kind of go on the grid a lot. Okay, so that's why I'm using a 1/4 beat. So I'm gonna give you a groove you can use. So basically it'll look like this, and then it'll kind of bounce. And jazz does this a lot. If you look at the MIDI, it kind of uses these 1/4 notes like on the edge. And then basically you can skip one like this. Okay, and we can copy this over. And then what I would like to do here is you can either go upward, you can go up like that. But I like to go, for my basses, I like to go down. So skip this one, go down. So basically make a chord backwards. Oops. And then you can pull this up and then use one of these notes later like that. So delete this. So this is the groove. Don't forget that groove. And then over here, let's just make a chord. It's D sharp minor, and apply these notes. All right, you can see it's coming together now. So over here, same thing, except I'm gonna kind of just throw these up like that, just so it's kind of in the same area. I don't want a huge jump. And let's do like a. Okay, I like that. Let's copy it over. And then over here, we can just move this over. Just try that. Let's see. Okay, I like that. Let's just pull it down and listen to it one more time. Okay, I like that. So we got a nice little bass going. So now let's do the drums, and it should all kind of come together. All right, so now we have our drums. Now you want to kind of keep these somewhat simple, because you got to think we have a lot better technology nowadays, and they didn't back then. So a lot of stuff that you probably would want to do, which you still can, you couldn't do back then. So I would say try to keep it simple if you want to stay true to the style. So really I would do something like this, and really just do that. I like to turn these initial instruments, so these pillars, so the snares, kick, and hi-hats, I usually turn the velocity up on those. And then you could just do like this generic little pattern. It's like this. Turn those up, and then just copy this over here. And then for the kick, you just want to like a nice little bounce pattern. we could just actually just copy it. Turn this kick up. Okay, and then from here you just kind of add these little things in. So the claps, these are important. Again, you should have these drums. And then let's do something like this. Let's pan it. Make sure you can see that. Right, panning things are important, and I'm gonna make sure this is reset so my drums don't get messed up. And then the rest you just kind of throw in, just like any other drum pattern, you know. All right, I don't know if I fast forwarded through there or not, but here are the drums. So this is what everything would sound like together. Okay, so we're not done yet. You have to add effects. So what I'm gonna do is just throw some effects on and show you some things you can add, because adding the character is really important. You do not want it to sound dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw some stuff on, and I'm gonna show you when I'm done. All right, so here are the effects. So I put all the drums, every single one, into a bus. And I just added a FabFilter Saturn. And I just chose a preset that didn't do anything too crazy. So I'll just show you it on and off. Okay, it's not a huge difference. And I just want it to be a little bit more relatable with the presets, because I know a lot of people just use stock presets, and you can achieve this with stock presets. So I didn't go too crazy on this. So that's the drum bus, and then the bass, I just boosted this a little bit to kind of bring out like the harmonics, and added a soft clipper to kind of control it. And with the sweeps, okay, so I'm gonna mute these. So I added a delay to the like trippy pad or the sweep. Okay, and of course you can see I EQ'd it just to kind of boost the sound. But I put those in a bus and added an RC20 retro color, which just gave it kind of like a little character and vibe to it. You see it's got that kind of vibe. And then the lead, I just EQ'd. Okay, and then on the master, just this Life X, just something, and you know, I could go, and there's a bunch of presets you can try just like for some cool effects. Alright, so that is it for this video. That's how you make an 80s break dance type beat. Hopefully it was helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.